Okay, hey everyone. I am back. I apologize that I am just now coming back to you all, but when I tell you things have been absolutely insane, I have really just been trying to get back in the swing of things because, as you all know, I was in the hospital, so I've been sick. But let me actually talk to you about some of the things that's been going on, which kind of prolonged me coming back on to the YT. When I tell you, life has literally been so crazy. Right now, I'm actually on my way to Starbucks, and then I have to go stop by my after hours spot to check out things there. So this is gonna probably be like a nice little video, so you might be able to see a little bit of scenery, but not really. But let's chit chat. Okay, so where have I been? Like I said, I was in the hospital, but prior to me going into the hospital, it was another situation that occurred, and it was so traumatic. I literally am still trying to wrap my head around things, and it's really embarrassing. And I'm going to be vulnerable, and I'm going to tell you all what's going on or what transpired. It bothered me so to the point where I actually spoke to Tana about it, because I really was like at a standstill emotionally, to the point where I actually questioned myself as a person, as a human being, as a person that is a creation of the Most High. Like, I have to have some type of problem. But you know, Tana definitely assured me that I am not at fault, and that things were going to be okay. She also told me and forewarned me about this situation, but it kind of went over my head. And now thinking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, Tana told me that this actually would happen, and sure enough it did. So let's backtrack. We're actually gonna backtrack about 7-8 years ago. I met this guy. He was a lot older than I was, and I could tell that off rip by his appearance. Now, he did not, let me say this, he did not look his age. When I ended up finding out his age, I was completely shocked, because he actually turned out to be about 15 years older than what I thought he was. And I was in my early 20s when I first met this person. So this was, like I said, 7 or 8 years ago. Probably about 7. No, it was about 8 years ago when I first met this person. When I first met him was when I was in the process of purchasing my second home. And it's so funny how God works, because the home that I live in now was really only initially supposed to be a rental property. But, you know, sometimes life throws you curves, and you have to be ready to jump over those hurdles or go through those obstacles. So what ended up occurring was I ended up selling the home that I was living in, because the bills, the overhead, the mortgage, all of that was a lot more expensive. And I ended up living in my rental property, which is actually where I reside at now. And I've been staying in that property for a few years now. Well, anyways, what happened was, when I was getting some remodeling done for my rental property, I was also in the process of having my first brick and mortar store. I already had a business, but I did everything through mail, so I did not actually have like a location or a brick or mortar. So I decided to step out on faith and actually have my own storefront. So what I was doing was, in the process of me getting my home renovated, I decided to get a lot of the fixtures, aesthetics, inventory, all that kind of stuff. I was getting it shipped to my rental property. And I'll actually use one of the bedrooms, and I kind of made like a makeshift like storage room for my store. So I had a lot of stuff going on at one time, several years ago. Well, anyways, I ended up meeting this gentleman who I was telling you about. He's a lot. The age difference was a huge age difference between he and I. And when I saw him, I thought he was in his 40s, but come to find out, he was actually in his 50s. And I was in my early 20s at the time. Well, anyways, long story short, he was very pursuant. He was very respectful, but I could tell that he was definitely interested in me. But I was so focused on my career, because at the time I was working in corporate America, and I was trying to branch out and become an entrepreneur as well, which I already was. But like I said, I was actually getting my own store. So that was my focus. My focus was not trying to be in a relationship. So over the years, I would slowly come into contact with him, see him, and run into him a couple of times. Well, what ended up happening was I ended up having a soft grand opening at my actual store, and he was there, and he brought his daughter. During this time, his daughter was probably like 7 or 8 years old. So this was some time ago. And he brought his daughter, and she went shopping in my store, and he later on actually became a very good client of mine. He would come in and get things for his daughter periodically. So we ended up building a rapport. I ended up learning a lot more about him. I'm going to call him Dan. Let's call him Dan. I think Dan would be an appropriate name for him. Or should we call him Chester? Yes, Chester is a better name. So we're going to call him Chester. Okay, so Chester would bring his daughter in, and like I said, we ended up having more rapport with each other. And long story short, I had just recently gone through a really bad breakup, and he had invited me out to dinner. So I said, you know what, the man has been flirting with me for years, because at this time it's been years down the road. And I said, you know what, it wouldn't hurt to go out to eat with the man. It's dinner. So we ended up going out to dinner, and we had the most amazing conversation. And it was just so refreshing and liberating to actually speak to a black man who had something going for himself, and who loved his daughter, because that's the young girl, the 8-year-old. Well, like I said, she was 8-year-old at the time, but she's a teenager now. But how he adored his child, how he had been working in corporate America himself for several years. He had been with the company he was working with for over 30 years. And then, he also was an entrepreneur as well. So, we had a lot of things in common. And he's also like a very well-respected businessman. So I just was very, very intrigued at that moment, because I was just like, you just don't find that every day. So we went out to dinner and we ended up exchanging numbers, and long story short, a couple of months later, we decided that we were going to date. So we ended up beginning to date, and I ended up finding out that that's when I found out what his real age was. I ended up finding out that he was in his 50s. And like I said, I was in my early 20s. So we're talking about a 20-something, on almost 30-year difference between he and I. But a lot of people have told me this. I have an old soul, I'm very mature for my age. So even though physically you could definitely tell the difference in age between he and I, when it came to the mental capacity of us both and just the conversation and things like that, we were like on the same playing field. And I'm one of those people, I'm like, age isn't a big thing to me, especially if you're grown. It's different if you're a teenager, but if you're grown, age, numbers, that doesn't really mean anything to me. So anyways, we dated for several months. I don't know what it was, but even though I was intrigued by him, even though I really did like him, it was something about him that I could not put my finger on, and it would not allow me to become intimate with him. I don't know what it was. I just could never put my finger on it. I just always felt uneasy when it came to him. Well, what happened was that one particular day, we were actually getting ready to go out to eat again. I was over his home. I was watching TV. He had just came back from collecting his rent for some of his rental properties, because he owns several homes and he rents them out. And it was like the first of the month, because I never forget this. It was the first of the month. And he was like, well, let me go ahead and take a shower and freshen up and get dressed, and we can go ahead and go out to eat. I said, okay, babe, no problem. So he gets in the shower, and about maybe not even 3 minutes later, someone is ringing the doorbell, and they're just a ringing, and they're just a ringing, and then it's like banging on the door like it's the police. So I go to the door, to the peephole to look, and it's a woman, and she looks fire red hot. She was fairer skinned than I am, and it appeared as if like the side of her face was like just bright red, like fire engine red. And she's like screaming, and she's like, I know you in there. I know you in there. Open up this MFing door. She's pissed. And then she comes around to the window. She's banging on the window. She's looking in the windows. And I'm assuming that she might have gotten a bucket or something. I don't know where she got the bucket from, because she was standing on something, and then I heard her fall, and she was like, ow. And then she goes, effing with you, I sprained my GD ankle. Like, and she's like pissed at this point. So you know me, I go to the bathroom door and I'm knocking on it, and he's like, yeah, baby, what's going on? I'm like, someone's at your door. And he knew somebody was at the door. I know he, what, huh? Someone's at your front door. Huh? I can't hear you. So you can hear me enough to say, hey, babe, what's going on? But now you can't hear anything when I say someone's at your front door. Okay, whatever, dude. Whatever. Okay. Oh, well, it's not important. I said it seems like it's really important because they knocking on doors and coming around on windows and climbing on things, and whoever it is, they must have hurt themselves because they limped away and they got into their vehicle. And I was like, and she's driving a red sports car. Oh, I don't know who that is. So he gets dressed, and I'm the type of person, I'll give you enough rope to hang yourself. I'm not about to argue with you. Time is of the essence to me, and I learned at a very, very early age, do not argue with people that actually produces stress, high blood pressure. I already have enough health issues. That's not a health issue that I need or want. So I just tend to not argue with people the best way I can. You know, I try to deal with people differently. Now, don't get it twisted. I will read the hell out of you. And I will make you look so stupid with just my words. And I'll say it in a way that is so nonchalant and just to the point where, you know, you won't even want to argue with me because you just will feel so inadequate. So, you know, he attempted, but I clearly shut him down. And I was like, no, we don't need to talk about it. You said they're not important. I said, obviously, it had to be important if they're knocking on windows. And you said you don't know who this woman is with the red sports car. Whatever. So I tell him before we go to the restaurant, I said, hey, do me a favor. Take me by my shop real quick. I was like, I need to get some money. Oh, babe, no, I got you. Don't worry about it. You know, what do you need money for? No, I think I need some money. I need to stop by the store and get some cash. So he takes me by the store. And upon me walking into the store, I hear all of this commotion outside. And there it is, the red sports car has blocked him in the parking lot. So he can't get out. Because how my store is, it's in, I don't know how areas are in the cities that you all live in. But my store was actually, my very first store was in the downtown area. So what happened is that when you pull in, it's like the stores, there's like a chain of commercial buildings. So if you go straight, you'll drive right into the brick buildings. So it's only one way in, one way out, if that makes any sense. So once you pull in, you have to back out in order to get out of the parking lot. Well, what happened was she blocked him in, so he could not be able to move his vehicle. So he had no choice but to hear whatever it was that she was going to say. So there's so much commotion outside, and she's screaming and yelling and this, that, and the other. And I just hear her say, oh, so this is why you can only see me at this time. Oh, so this is the reason why I only saw you one day last week. So you messing with this young B. So, you know, like I said, I'm not about to argue with nobody. Anybody that knows me, I'm too cute to fight. I really, really am. I'm not trying to be funny. You know, don't get it twisted. I can get a bitch up off me if need be. And I definitely know how to defend myself, but to try to be the aggressor, that's not me. So I literally just stood at the door with my cute self and looked out the window because I needed some popcorn to see what was about to pop off. She's like mushing him upside, like on the side of his head. You effing liar. So another young bitch. I hear her say it again. Another young bitch that you cheating on me with. I'm tired of your shit, Chester. I'm tired of your shit. I mean, and she's going off. So, I pretend I walk outside and I'm cute, honey. Especially back then, I was real cute. I was one of those, they call them gym rats, but I was one of those girls who stayed at the gym. I lived there, and then my waist was probably like 27, 28 inches, and then, well, I've always had like a larger bottom area. So my bottom area was probably like a 46, 47. And this was back then. So when she saw me, she just completely shut up at that point. And so I stood outside of his vehicle and I was like, babe, are you going to open up the door? And he was like, oh, yeah, no problem. So he gets out of his vehicle. He opens up the door for me and I sit inside. And I was like, you're blocking us. She gets in her vehicle. And before she gets in her vehicle, she goes, you're going to be in the same boat that I'm in with him. He's nothing but trouble. Let me tell you, right now, it's you. She goes, tomorrow it'll be somebody else younger than you. She said, don't you ever forget that. She was like, I've been through hell with him for years. So, I'm the type of person, I'm never going to let somebody see me sweat. But the second we got far enough away from that area, we probably drove in silence for about 3 miles. And men do that because they want to hear from you first before they actually open up their mouth. And so I say to him, oh, so you didn't know anyone that has a red sports car? And he goes, oh, well, I forgot that she had a new car. So what was that all about? Oh, man, she's crazy. That's my ex-girlfriend. I said, oh, okay, so that's your ex-girlfriend. Yeah, she heard that I was dating you, and, I don't understand. I told her I didn't want to be with her anymore, and, he just told a whole bunch of lies. I knew he was lying. I pretended not to have heard their conversation, but I heard everything. I heard the lady say that, she had only had the opportunity to see him one time the week prior to this, and that their interactions had become less and less and less. She also said in the conversation that he was telling her that he loves her and that he's just been really busy and this, that, and the other. And he had told her that he was sick. That's why she was coming over to check on him. He was lying. But I never allowed him to know that I knew this. So let me tell you how God works. I prayed about it and I said, Lord, whatever it is about him, I need you to reveal it to me. And I said, and let the chips fall as they may. I just want to know the truth. I already knew the truth, but I really, really wanted to know the truth because, like I said, it was something about him that wouldn't allow me to be intimate with him. So, fast forward a few days later, this is the same week. So, what happened was that I had became very ill. As you all know, I told you all in a previous video that I do have certain health issues, and I was having a really bad flare-up. So I may have needed to eventually go to the emergency room, depending on if I could be able to handle the flare or not. So he didn't want me to be home by myself, so he said, well, hey, how about this? I'll just fix up my guest room and you can stay there and I'll just nurse you back to health. Well, long story short, that night I ended up finding out what that thing was about him that I could not put my finger on. A lot of things about him were revealed to me that night, and I'm just gonna leave it like that. He had certain habits that were revealed to me that I absolutely 100% had no knowledge of. And he tried to play it off to me as if it was no big deal. But in my eyes, that type of behavior is always a big deal because it's a situation that could potentially ruin your entire life and put you in jail, if not worse, prison. And I made a conscious decision from that day forward that I was not going to continue dating him. From that night forward, I was not going to continue dating him. Well, after I decided not to continue dating him, this man literally for years berated me, harassed me, would come to my place of business, curse me out, call me everything but a child of God. I mean, I went through this for years from this man. Sometimes he would be nice to me, telling me how much, he really wanted to get back with me and that he had changed and that he was no longer the same person. Because at this point, you have certain habits and you're cheating. My thing was, I honestly, I didn't really feel it bothered me he cheated, and I ended up finding out he was cheating with several different people. It wasn't just her. I ended up finding out it was several different people. But like I said, it was something about him that I couldn't put my finger on, and that was what was not allowing me to even go any further with him. So fast forward, it's now year 2017. And there was a situation that occurred. As you all know, I have another business venture that I am involved in now. And like I spoke about in a previous video, it's not just me. I have partners in that business. And literally, when this man found out that I ended up becoming one of the partners in the business, he literally did everything in his power to try to not only compromise the business, but to compromise my livelihood, as in my finances. And this is where Tana comes in, because when he did that, I was so worried because he's a very well-known businessman in the area. He has the liquid cash to literally ruin me if he really wanted to. And he has the political know-how to do it as well, because at one point in time he was a politician in the area. So I was really worried and I was scared because he was doing a lot of shady stuff to just get us shut down. And I was super worried, and I reached out to Tana and I had an appointment with her, and she told me that I was going to be fine. She said, you're going to be absolutely fine. She said, and he's dealing in some nasty, those were her exact words. She said, he's dealing in some nasty mess anyways. She said, he's going to be so concerned. She said, he's going to be too concerned with trying to stay out of prison. He's not going to even have time to try to do anything to try to harm you like he's attempting to. She said, give it time. She said, he's going to be in jail soon. Give it time. And I mean, Tana said that, and it was just like, I was done. And what's crazy is, I don't know what it is about me, but it's like, I literally, and I don't know, probably because it's my zodiac sign, you know, I was reading some of the characteristics of my zodiac, and that is one. When it comes to relationships and when we're really done with a person, we literally can turn that person off and on like a light switch. And I mean like off and on like a light switch. And I think that has always bothered my exes, that I have not been that type of person where I've called them back or been like, well, baby, let's work it out, or baby, I love you, or baby, can we talk about it? Like, when I'm done with you, I'm done with you. I'm not gonna call you, I'm not gonna text you, I'm not gonna, no. When I'm done, I'm done. Like, dude, I'm done. So with him, I literally was really, really done. So I didn't call him, I didn't text him, and I think that really, really bothered him. I'm at my after hours spot, so I'm just gonna kind of sit in the car and talk to you all and finish this video up before I go in. But anyways, so what ended up happening, fast forward now to 2017, he did a lot of shady stuff to try to get us shut down. So what ended up happening was this. I get a phone call from a friend. She is a very close friend of mine. Matter of fact, she's one of my best friends, and she's a Gemini. So funny, because my best friends are, one of my best friends is a Gemini, the other one is a Pisces, and the other one is a Capricorn. And we all get along so well. And a Libra. But anyways, she called me and she was like, well, are you sitting down? Mind you, it was like early in the morning. And it was so crazy because my cousin, she was calling me at the same time as well. And my cousin is actually a doctor. She is a psychotherapist. She actually has her PhD. And she does